I obviously didn't realise how serious the situation was with the hand. It's the first bone I've ever broken. I'm at home thinking, I'll make that weight again. But then if I win, I get the belts back, then I'm stuck here again in this weight division, draining myself for God knows how many more fights to make that weight, and it's like your health comes first. Coming back out in front of the crowd at Sheffield Arena, I can remember it just being electric that night.
We are absolutely delighted to be joined by Terri Harper. It is January the 7th, 2022, a new year. First of all, good Christmas, good New Year's.
Yeah, very good, thank you. Not often we get the chance to have it off, but just enjoying my time with family and friends, and yeah, I enjoyed eating well and just having a good time.
Good. So I'm going to take you on a little bit of a trip down memory lane. So 2020, we was in the midst of a pandemic, but you had an active period there in the sense that during the pandemic you managed to have a number of fights, and we went into November 2020 fighting Katarina Thandes, where we had the infamous break of the hand. But just take us back, Terri, to that point in time. You're still at that point 23 years old, world champion, a lot of media attention, a lot of interest in you, a lot of people calling you out. But just put us back to that moment in time and talk a little bit about the Thandes fight.
Yeah, so like you said, I had a very active year in 2020, 3 fights. I was one of the lucky ones to experience fighting at fight camp. And yeah, a lot of people's careers got put on hold just because of the pandemic and the coronavirus. But like I said, I was one of the busy ones. And I obviously winning the world title against Eva Wallström beginning of 2020, February. And then I just kind of felt like my profile was just shot straight up there, and it's like all eyes on you then. And then like a couple of weeks after, you just feel this extra pressure then that gets took on. Obviously it comes with the territory of being world champion, and you get people calling you out left, right and centre, and I was new to all that and I didn't know how to deal with it. But as the year went on, obviously being surrounded with a good team and stuff, I kind of learned how to deal with it and stuff like that. And then I had the great fight with Natasha Jonas. That was, yeah, I got nominated for Fight of the Year, and then obviously then went on to fight Thandes. Then coming off the draw with Tasha, I felt like I had something to prove, and then probably one of the best performances I've had in my boxing career, but unfortunately that's where I suffered my the hand injury.
And so you had the momentum, you went into the Thandes fight, you put in a really good fight against Katarina, and obviously broke your hand during the fight and fought with one hand for the remaining kind of rounds before obviously the stoppage came in. But then, great performance. We then move into kind of 2021. You're obviously recovering from the hand. Have we still got the scar? Yeah, still got the
war
scar.
wound for life.
And I know we've heard about the story, and you know you've opened the jar at Christmas time. But just to kind of go back down memory lane a little bit, just tell us a little bit about that period of time and what was happening during your recovery, and any frustrations, any weight problems, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so me being naive, I obviously didn't realise how serious the situation was with the hand. It's the first bone I've ever broken, first real injury that I've ever suffered in my life, not just my boxing career. So Christmas time in 2020, that's when, well, I had the operation after the fight, and then that's when I ended up damaging the hand again. But then in the new year we were pushing for the Choi fight, working towards that. Obviously then the week before the fight, the hand went again, which caused me to have a second operation. And this time I ended up having to have 2 plates, bone out the hip, so a much bigger operation than the first time. But but then then it were all good then, and then we worked on making the comeback and trying to get a fight in before the end of the year.
Yeah, and going from a really busy 2020 period, then going into 2021, recovering from your injury, obviously still in the gym and training and ticking over, but not having the fight dates because you're still recovering, obviously, with the hand. What kind of frustrations did you have and issues weight-wise did you have going into the Baumgardner fight, and was it something on your mind at the time in terms of as you moved into that fight towards the end of last year?
Yeah, so after the second operation, obviously with the bone being taken off the hip, it forced me to completely stop. Whereas the first operation I was still able to do a little bit of running and coming in the gym and doing little bits and bobs, obviously just not punching. Whereas this time I had to completely stop and become a bit of a couch potato, and at that point that's when I put on my weight, and I was knocking on nearly 11 stone when I came back into the gym, and so it was just, for me, getting up to 11 stone and then having to get down to 9 stone 4 for the fight, we probably focused too much on trying to get the weight off rather than everything else.
Yeah. So Baumgardner is selected as an opponent. I'm guessing at the time there was a number of potential opponents that both Steffi and Eddie could have picked, and yourself, and just talk us through the decision to pick Baumgardner, and I suppose within that, is there, was your preparation flawed in any way? Did we take the fight lightly? Just give us your thoughts and feelings around that time, and knowing what you obviously know now. Well,
one of the main things I said to Andrew when it came to choosing the opponent is I wanted a respectable opponent. I didn't want to just go fighting anybody and like someone who's actually got something about them, and I always feel like that brings out the best in me. So, and then the second reason why we probably went with Alycia was due to a American, due to a following over there, and there was the big fight with Mayer on the horizon that could have happened this year if all went well. So I just thought it was a great idea to boost my profile, make that fight even bigger if it were to happen, and but obviously I'd not made the weight then for a full year, and in that time, like you said, I've been constantly in the gym, working over with Danny, doing my strength, in the gym here with Andrew, and I'd not got my body down to fight weight, to 9 stone 4 for the full year, and when it did come to making that weight, that's when I realised how much of a struggle it was. I was struggling to make, well, not struggling, but I was having to dry myself out for check weights, dropping 4 or 5 pounds just for check weights and really draining myself. And like now I sit back and I realise how dangerous and how stupid really it was to do that. But what else can I do when I've got the world title at super feather? There's no way I could just like chuck that to side and say I'm moving up. So.
And fight night itself, I mean, when you look back now and watch the atmosphere in Sheffield Arena, the ring walk, obviously the commercial backing that you've got from sponsors, when you look back to the night itself, have you got any, what's your thoughts? Where when you look back and reflect now, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
So obviously I managed to experience fighting behind closed doors twice, and coming back out in front of the crowd at Sheffield Arena, I can remember it just being electric that night, and I always remember Andrew telling me to stay focused when I'm walking into the ring and stuff, so I try not to get too distracted by it, but watching it back on videos and watching the ring walk, and I just think it's amazing. Like the following I've got it gives me goosebumps, and sometimes I wish I could like cut myself in half so I could experience a night with everyone in the crowd as well as obviously box myself.
Obviously defeated, and I was there that night, and I came up to see you in your hotel room, and we was all devastated. But we move into 2022 now. It's a new year. There's some new emphasis. There's some new focus. You've made the decision, and you've recently shared the news that you're moving up to lightweight. Obviously a decision that Steffi and Eddie have both endorsed and give the full support. So again, just tell us your thoughts, Terri, on that decision and what led to that decision.
Yeah, so like the main one being not struggling, but draining myself just for check weights, and I just feel like it was too much of a cut now. Like, it's too much of a cut to make 9 stone 4, and like I can remember after the fight thinking I could make that weight another 10 times, but can I perform at it? Probably not. And I just think the worst thing in my career has happened to me. I've been defeated, knocked out in front of my home crowd, belts taken away from me. Like, you can't get any worse than that. So now I'm going to see, like Andrew was telling, like we were on about the rematch clause and all this, and when I said to Andrew straight away, I said I want that rematch. But then when you've had time to let your emotions settle down, and I'm at home thinking I'll make that weight again. But then if I win, I get the belts back, then I'm stuck here again in this weight division, draining myself for God knows how many more fights to make that weight. And it's like your health comes first. And for me, like it was an hard pill to swallow, but like I've got to accept the defeat. And now this is where I see it as a fresh start. I get the chance to learn the trade. Like obviously, like I said before, I was only 22 when I won my first world title and pushed straight up there. And now I kind of get to take a little bit of a back seat and learn as I go in the next couple of years. I'm only 25, but yeah, there's just no way I could make that weight again. Not safely, not healthily. It's like little things like my menstrual cycle. I was 38 days late for my menstrual cycle, and like that for me shows me that that's not my weight. And I had 9.9% body fat during fight week, really low body fat. And there's things like when you miss your menstrual cycle, you lose your hormones like your estrogen and stuff, which makes your bones become brittle and stuff. And this is only something I've really learnt myself recently. And sometimes I think, is that why my hand broke in the Thanders fight? Because my bones became brittle just trying to cut too much weight. So yeah, I think it was the smart, probably best decision to move up weight, really.
So 2022 ahead of us, a big year for Terri. What's next?
So this year is just being active. I just want to get out there as much as possible. The one thing that I've always lacked is experience, and I just want to be out there on the big nights. Maybe not the big nights for me, but on the big shows and on the big stage, and just picking up them rounds and getting that experience. Still fighting incredible opponents, but yeah, it's just I want to get out as many times as possible and get active, and then really make a statement at this new weight division. And do we have a fight date, or have we got an idea of when you'll next be out? Yeah, so I'll be back out in March, obviously January now, so Christmas is out of the way. I'm back in the gym full time, camp's officially started, and do you know what, I enjoyed my time off, and I really enjoyed normal time and relaxing with family and friends, but I'm glad to be back in the gym, and I feel like I want to get out there and not prove everyone wrong. I need to prove something to myself, because I can remember walking out of the ring that night against Alycia and still dazed, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? Like, can I even box? Have I just been like outed? Like, and that's when doubt started setting in for me then, and yeah, I just got a lot of questions to answer myself, and I think I've got the perfect comeback fight and just a chance to prove to myself really that I do belong here, and it's just a matter of time. Everything happens for a reason, and this is my time now to build up and just learn on the job.